creating a weekend where you're going to stay inside and you're going to just be purely entertained by a fucking mixed martial event or a boxing event. And you might ask yourself, like, man, why is it that we're getting so many awesome events, you know? And I'm starting to think about it. And I was like, man, maybe it was like COVID, like going through that break of like kind of silence, not much entertainment. We had the UFC, of course, but it wasn't the same. But now that we're kind of back to normal, everything's really back to normal. It's like, man, let's make these mega fights. Like, we've been craving this, you know, as people. Everyone's been craving it. So now you got the promoters, the boxers, like, hey, let's just fucking go out there with the bang. Hey guys, welcome to the False Nine podcast here with episode 150th episode. That's crazy. I think that's a milestone. What is it, like 6 quarters? But 150, we're here. If you are new to the channel, what's up? Lately, it's just been a lot of sports talk, UFC, boxing, some football, soccer, things like that. We got some things in the works. They'll be coming soon. Don't worry. But today we're going to talk about these fights this weekend. It's going to be crazy. And that's all I really want to talk about is the fights this weekend. This weekend, I want to say arguably one of the best weekends that we're probably going to have this year as far as like entertainment. You know, you're going to have boxing, you got UFC, and the people who are fighting is just like, bruh, we cannot. I mean, it's just too much to handle. And I just want to say this out here. And it's probably going to be the title of this video. Like, I'm so happy, so happy that, like, you know, the sport of boxing and the sports of mixed martial arts and the organization of UFC, and shout out to Showtime and all those boxing organizations. But, you know, to finally, I don't know if it's the fighters or the promoters, and it's probably both, like both promotions and the fighters, like agreeing to make mega fights, you know, and not being scared to maybe hurt your reputation a little bit, or maybe take a chance on taking an L, you know, because these fights are mega fights, and, you know, these are fighters with big egos and big names, and they might be worried or scared that they're going to hurt their reputation if they lose, or their stock. I don't know, right? But I'm just so happy that, you know, they're putting everything on the line. They put all the belts on the line. They put their record on the line, and, you know, they're gonna put out the biggest fight they can for the fans. And I mean, I was watching a podcast today with Errol Spence, and he just wants to create a legacy. And I think, you know, that earlier this year we've had like Israel and Pereira. We've had Tank versus Davis. I'm trying to think who else we had Lomachenko, David Haney. This weekend we got Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje again, Errol Spence and Crawford. I mean, we had Canelo go up, and I know Canelo's going to make mega fights later on too. He has Charmelo coming up too. And man, like, it's, I don't even know what you want to call it, if it's like a blessing or, you know, it's so good for the sport, and it's so good for entertainment because everybody wins, you know. As a fan, we win because we get entertained and we look forward to it. So if we got to pay for the pay-per-view, awesome. You know, we're going to pay for the pay-per-view. We're going to pay for food. We're going to pay for drinks. We're going to have a good-ass time, and we're going to remember, like, oh, man, that time when, you know, the Errol Spence and the UFC Dustin, the BMF belt happened. Like, remember that night, dude? It was so much fun. And, you know, if you bet, like, oh, man, I'm trying to win some money, things like that, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, that's, I mean, you can call it cultural, whatever. Like, you're creating a weekend where you're going to stay inside and you're going to just be purely entertained by a fucking mixed martial event or a boxing event. And that, to me, is like, as a fan, I'm like, that's awesome, you know. And then right now we got this Leagues Cup. I'm a football fan, soccer fan, and I'm just so happy that, you know, we get so much sports right now, and I'm so thankful. And I'm just so happy that these promotions, organizations are putting this stuff together and giving us probably one of the best years of boxing, you know. And you might ask yourself, like, man, why is it that we're getting so many awesome events, you know? And I'm starting to think about it, and I was like, man, maybe it was like COVID, like going through that break of like kind of silence, not much entertainment. We had the UFC, of course, but it wasn't the same. But now that we're kind of back to normal, everything's really back to normal. It's like, man, let's make these mega fights. Like, we've been craving this, you know, as people. Everyone's been craving it. So now you got the promoters, the boxers, like, hey, let's just fucking go out there with the bang. You know, we went there with pure, like, you know, quietness, no fans, no nothing. So, hey, let's just fucking keep hitting bangers after bangers after bangers. And that's what boxing and the UFC has been doing. And I'm so fucking happy about it. So, kudos to them, and let's just keep supporting, to be honest with you. Now, let's get into the emotions, you could say. Let's talk about Pitbull Cruz, or Isaac Cruz versus Giovanni Cabrera. I'm a big fan of Pitbull. When I seen a fight Tank, he fucking won me over. He won a lot of people over, even though he lost that fight. And, you know, I don't know. I still have mixed emotions about that fight, but I think Pitbull gave him Davies one of his toughest fights. I mean, it's probably the last fight that he had that went to distance. Everyone else he's put out. And I want to say prior to that too, I can't remember the last time he went to distance besides Pitbull. And I could be wrong, whatever. But I think Pitbull's going to put on performance, and I think he's trying to get that fight back against Gervonta. And it's cool because he's always talking about, he's like, I want that fight back. I want that fight back. I want that fight back. And he's lining them up. He's lining them up for he can, you know, whoever's up next, he's going to fight him and he's going to beat him in a dominant fashion. I mean, look how he did. Oh, man, I forgot his name, but he fought him in Dallas, and then now he has this guy. And I think he's going to perform. And a while ago, he had another guy, and he fucking knocked him out too, like early on, like first or second round. And I think Isaac Cruz, like fighting Tank Davis made him so much better and probably gave him a huge confidence boost. And also helped him out financially, where he can, you know, financially take care of himself, whether it's with nutritionist or, you know, just quality of the food, quality of life, just better quality that he can bring to himself and to his family. And it just helps him perform in the ring. So I think he's going to come up with the win. I think he gets another knockout. I just hope it's a good fight. And I hope that maybe he can fight Tank later this year, early next year. I really do hope so, or not. Have Isaac Cruz have a mega fight, whether it's Rolly, whether it's Garcia, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, one of those guys, right? Even George Kambosos. I know his thing was a little bit. Didn't watch that fight. I missed it, but you know, I want him to fight a big name, you know, for he can just be a star, man. I want to see him do good. I want to see Pitbull Cruz do some damage in the sport. And then let's talk about the main event that night. We got Errol Spence Jr. versus Bud Crawford. And I'm gonna just start off. By saying I'm laughing because I know I don't know. I haven't seen too much of, you know, on the internet, like what people think. But I got Errol Spence. All I know is that he's the underdog. And the reason why I'm going for Errol Spence is I really like how he speaks, you know, about shit. And I know his actions in the past maybe not been the best, but I like how he speaks now. Seeing him perform how he did it, like in Dallas, and how he did that performance, it was like, I was like, wow, this guy is good. And the fan base there that were supporting Errol Spence in Dallas, I was like, wow, like this is some cool shit, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna support this guy, and I'm gonna support the truth. And I really hope he gets the dub. Now, Bud, I mean, his name, Crawford, I've been knowing about him for a while now. I think he just never really fought big names. I don't really know why. And I'm sure there's some big names out there that I'm missing out, but I don't know too much about him or both of these fighters. You know, I'm more familiar with UFC than probably boxing, but I want to get into boxing more, and I think I have. You know, and I mean, Bud, he's a great fighter. I want to say Crawford's obviously the more experienced fighter, and he's a more what is it called? Like, I don't know what the word I want to use. Like, he has more experience, so he's probably like a wiser fighter, right? And I think Earl, he is going to be the aggressor. He's going to be putting on that pressure. And one thing that I like about Earl is that he said it himself, you know, he stays in the pocket, he doesn't get hit, and he hits. And he's just so good at jabbing. He's just so good at pop, pop, pop. You know, the whole fight, he'll put those combinations on you. But I like that Earl is patient, but he's coming at you from the start. You know, he's coming at you with patience and just bugging and bugging and bugging. And it's hard for me to see this fight go to a knockout, right? I think this fight goes to distance. I don't see these guys getting knocked out. I think it's going to be such a high level fight, you know, and I know they're going to take the risk like when they need to, but I just don't see how one of them, really capitalizes on that risk, because I think that risk is going to be like something small that you can't get the knockout. I don't know. That's just how I feel. And if it does go as a knockout, I think it's going to be like a body shot, liver shot, or something like that. I don't think it's going to be like to the face, or like, a jab or a hook or what is it called? The uppercut. I mean, so yeah, I don't know. But that fight's going to be a high level fight. And it's like, we've seen, it's like a Canelo Triple G, right? I mean, I know we had Tank and Davis, but Errol Spence and Crawford, it's like a different level. It's like a level up, and it's like Canelo caliber fight. It's like a Mayweather caliber fight. Mayweather Pacquiao fight, Canelo Triple G fight. And Errol Spence versus Bud Crawford is going to be one of those fights that are just going to live forever. And hopefully it ain't going to be the last time. Maybe there's a rematch after, or a year or two later down the road. But I know it's not going to be the first time. And I really hope that, we see him fight again. And yeah, I'm going to move off to UFC. And I'm sorry for being out of breath so much. I don't even know why. But what was I going to say? Errol Spence, I think, gets the win in decision. I think he looks sharp. I think he looks great. I think it's going to be a war, of course. But I think Errol Spence gets the win in decision. It's going to go all 12 rounds. And if he does get the knockout, I think it's going to be a body shot, like I said, to the liver. And Crawford, I mean, the only way I see Crawford winning, honestly, is by knocking out Errol Spence, to the face. The only way I see it, whether it's a few knockdowns or just one. But that's how I see Crawford winning the fight, because I think he's the one that could do that. I know earlier, or a second ago, I said that it's probably not going to happen. But if it was to happen, it would be Crawford. So that's that. Let's move over to some UFC, man. We have, let's see, I don't know. So we got Kevin Holland versus Uros Midic. Not too familiar with Uros, I'm not sure about his name. Kevin Holland, I think he's really good. I think he's a savage. I think he don't give a fuck. He's down to fight anybody. But I just want to say Kevin Holland because I know who Kevin Holland is. We got Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira. So I don't know. I'm not too familiar again with these two guys, but I did see the countdowns on UFC, and Michael Pereira looks pretty scary. And we'll see how that fight goes. I'm going to have to go with Michael Pereira on this one because I'm not a fan of Thompson. He's a very technical fighter, but I don't think he'll pull through. Then we got let's talk about the good stuff now. We got Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson. Oh man, everyone's trolling Tony Ferguson on the internet, and I understand why. He does some weird stuff. He's training a little weird. You don't know what's going on there, right? And people are saying that he's not all the way there, shit like that. I don't know. I think he's happy to fight. I think he's happy to have a fight. And I think he's also aware that the end is near in his UFC career. And I think he's just trying to make the most of it, if I'm being honest. I think that's what Tony Ferguson is trying to do. Is just go out there, have a good time, put on a show if he can. And, when his time comes where he really can't fight no more, I think then he'll retire. But I think we still got 2-3 more fights of Tony fighting. Not at the highest level or competitive level, but, up there. And on the other side, we have Bobby Green, who, I mean, he said it himself when he fought Islam, that was, his journey to the top, and I don't remember his previous fight, but, I think if Bobby Green, obviously, I think he's going to win, and if I think it's a well-matched fight. So it's very leveled, I think. And it's just because we don't know how much his Tony Ferguson level went down, and I hate to say that Bobby Green wasn't at the level as prime Tony Ferguson, but I think Bobby Green, if he gets the win, depending how he does it, I think that he can definitely sneak his way up through the ranks and possibly get a good opponent like Dustin or Justin or Chandler. Who else is up there? I really think that's it. That's up there, or the other guy's name that people want Islam to fight. I forgot his name. So I think Bobby Green gets the win. I think he gets in the second round. I think he TKOs Tony. And I hate to say that because, Tony's a legend in the game, but I think, his time is done in the UFC. Bobby Green's going to go in there and just put on a show. I think he's going to put on a great performance, a savage performance. and just take out Tony in the second round. So we'll see how that fight goes. I just hope it's a great ass fight, good ass fight, really. But yeah, I got my money on Bobby Green. So then we got Jan Blachowicz against Alex Pereira. Man, this is the people's championship right here. You know, and we know the last fight that Jan Blachowicz had, it was very controversial. You know, people said that he lost that fight, ended up as a tie. I'm not going to pronounce the other guy's last name, but he was a Russian dude, and I saw him fight in Dallas, and he was fucking amazing. He was fucking a beast. He was good, right? So I think that Alex Pereira, I'm an Alex Pereira fan, right? So I don't know. This fight's gonna be so close. You know, they're both fucking huge. They both got missiles or cannons on their each arm, and they're fucking animals. You know, and the only thing is that Jan Blachowicz, he has a more MMA background, right? But he's really good at striking. He beat Adesanya. Didn't take him out, though, completely. So I don't want to question his power. But I think Alex Pereira has more power than Jan Blachowicz. I think he has more power. And I hate to say it because he knocked out Izzy. But it's how many times he knocked out Izzy. And Jan Blachowicz was just all over Izzy as far as wrestling. And I think we're going to see that same fight towards Alex Pereira. I think he's going to just try and take him to the ground and get his body all over him. But we're going to see, we're going to see if, Alex is so big and strong. And I know that Izzy took him down, but being at this bigger weight class and the less traumatic or painful weight cut, is he going to be more stronger to block the takedowns? Is he going to be able to, just stuff those takedowns? And I think he'll get taken down, and I think he'll be in danger. But I don't think there's going to be a fucking knockout for sure. I don't know who's getting knocked out. I don't know, and we've seen Alex Pereira get knocked out. We've seen him knock out people. I don't know if Jan Blachowicz ever been knocked out. I don't think so, but it's going to be a good fucking fight. That's all I got to say. It's going to be a good fight. I'm excited for the fight. It's going to be, it could have headlined a main event. It could have headlined the championship. I don't know why they didn't do it, but I understand. But then obviously whoever wins this fight is going to fight for the gold next, and hopefully it's Alex Pereira. I got Alex Pereira. I got Alex Pereira knocking out Blachowicz in the first or second round, to be honest. I think it's going to be early on. I don't see this fight going to like the third. It could go to third round, but I definitely don't see it go to fourth or fifth. So, and Alex, he knows how to, Izzy says it, he knows how to recover. So if he gets in some danger, I think he'll recover. But, man, it's going to be fucking exciting. But, again, I got Alex Pereira. I think he knocks out Jan in the first or second round. I don't think Jan's going to be ready for that power that Alex brings. And that just, I don't know, it's crazy. It's crazy what he can do. So, I think he got that one. So, yeah, that's that. And then we have Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2 for the BMF belt. And, oh, man, I don't know. I don't know how if people know the caliber of that fight. Like, someone's getting knocked the fuck out, or it's gonna go to distance and they're gonna be beaten up, And Dustin Poirier said that himself. Like, if it goes to distance, they're gonna be in the fucking hospital. But man, I don't know who's gonna win that fight. You look at it and you're like, man, these guys are just so like similar there, and they're fucking crazy. They got crazy hands. That shit is not going to the ground at all. They're going to be boxing the whole time and kicking their legs and shit like that. I think, Justin Gaethje has that crazy calf kick, and I think that's going to help him out a lot. And Dustin Poirier, obviously, we know his fucking boxing is A1. Now, I will say, when we look at it, like, since they last fought, I want to say it's 2018 or 2019, I think Dustin Poirier has grown a lot more than Justin Gaethje, and that's why my favorite or my pick for that fight is going to be Dustin Poirier, just because how much he has grown since they last fought, and I know that they've had similar roads, after they fought each other. They both fought for gold twice and lost to the same fucking people, and I want to say they've had like the same amount of wins, but I think the people that Dustin Poirier has fought, I don't even know, man. It's hard to tell. because they both, I mean, they fought they fought like literally all the same people, you know, except for Conor and then Rafael Fasif. So I don't know, man, and that's why I think Dustin Poirier is, because he's fought Conor, and the danger that he put Charles Oliveira in, and the danger that he put Khabib in, even though it wasn't much, you know. And Justin Gaethje, you know, he put Charles in some danger, but it wasn't like Dustin Poirier where he was just getting pieced up. I remember watching that and I was like scared for Charles. And I know we saw how Justin Gaethje and Chandler went, you know, and I thought Gaethje was going to lose that fight. I think he gets a little too reckless. But if Gaethje comes in there very disciplined and come in there calm and somewhat patient, I mean, who knows what can happen. And again, Dustin Poirier, both of them, you know, they want one more run at the title. And I think whoever loses this fight is going to drop off, you know, and is going to think about retirement. You know, if Dustin Poirier loses, I think he's going to want to walk away from the sport. Same thing with Justin Gaethje. If Justin Gaethje loses, he's going to probably want to walk away from the sport. So who do I got in the fight? Who's going to win the BMF belt? So I'm going to have to say Dustin Poirier. My money's on him. I think he gets it done like in the 3rd or 4th round. I will find it fucking crazy if this fight goes to 5 rounds. I think, like I said, Dustin Poirier gets it done in 3. Most likely 3, possibly 4. But I think he gets it done in the later rounds. And we'll see. We'll see. And Justin Gaethje, I mean, if for some reason he can rock Dustin Poirier, I mean, it'll probably be the same thing, like 3 or 4 rounds. Because these guys are really high level, you know, whether it's Muay Thai or boxing. Very high level. So their defense is going to be great. And I mean, their striking is going to be A1, you know, and some of them are going to get tired. And once they get tired, they'll start making those mistakes. And those mistakes are going to be coming in like 3 or 4th round. And that's when we'll see somebody capitalize, which I think will be Dustin Poirier. So, again, crazy event this weekend. And I say event because it's UFC and boxing. And I'm going to have 2 fucking TVs next to each other, playing both of them, you know, and watching both events go on at the same time. And I really hope you guys enjoy, you know, this weekend as much as I'm going to enjoy it. And I hope you watch this and just get excited for the fucking fight. And that's all it's for. This is just to hype up the fight and to, you know, you guys can be like, oh, I agree with this guy. Man, like, this guy's crazy. Like, he don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I just want to get you guys hyped for the fight. And I want you guys to be with me or not be with me. But I just want to help you guys get riled up for this fight, because it's going to be an event that we're not going to fucking forget. And that's for sure. So, guys, that's episode 150. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.